New cars, the Russian drama, drivers wearing team hoodies, and Seb getting a shoulder massage. I learned lots over the 3 days of pre-season testing, and I'm going to share some of those things with you in 8 seconds' time. McLaren has a new apparel sponsor this year. It's Castore. And what I liked about the outfits the drivers were wearing was the hoodie. Now, I've not seen too often drivers in the paddock wearing a hoodie in team colours, so I thought this one was a standout. We were introduced to Alex Albon's new helmet, and you probably would have noticed the big Red Bull logo on the side, the fact that he's driving for Williams and he's got effectively another team's logo on there might have caused some confusion for you. However, that's not the Red Bull team he's promoting, that's the Red Bull soft drink, and he is sponsored personally by the Red Bull company. Just quickly, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and sign up as a member. Trust me, I will not be selling your data to anyone else. I know what happens, you might sign up for a newsletter and then bang, you get all of this crap coming into your inbox. Or say you register for a store loyalty card and once again, you get bombarded with marketing material. Now that doesn't have to happen. If you get onto Incogni, they will liaise with those data brokers and take you off all of those mailing lists so you stop receiving all of that rubbish. And the whole process is automated. I'm going to suggest you click on the link in the description and go and have a look at exactly what Incogni does. And for the first 100 people that do so, they'll save 20%. That's 20% off for the first 100. The service is currently available for citizens of the US and the majority of European countries. Incogni, your right to privacy made easy. We also learnt that the 2022 cars look sexy. To my eye, and perhaps to yours too, the curved lines of the rear wing really sets it off, and I think it's a really sexy look. In fact, earlier in the week, I asked people to vote which car they preferred, the 2021 car or the 2022, and have a look at this, a resounding tick of approval for these new cars. We learnt that Seb and Christian Horner are still very much good mates. Here's Christian giving Seb a little shoulder massage on day 2 while Seb was talking to Adrian Newey. For those of you new to the sport, Seb won his 4 World Drivers' Championships from 2010 to 2013 consecutively in the Red Bull team under Christian Horner. And still on the subject of Seb, we were once again reminded that he's not frightened to speak his mind, openly stating that even if there was a Russian Grand Prix, he would not be attending it. It was our first look at George Russell in the black outfits of Mercedes-Benz. He looked great, and he certainly shone on the track on the Friday morning, yes, setting the fastest time. Was eclipsed in the afternoon by Lewis, but it just goes to show that the two drivers are thereabouts in terms of timing. And yes, I know it's only testing. There are no prizes handed out at testing, but it was a good start for the British driver. Trench coats were popular amongst the drivers, with Pierre Gasly arriving on the second day in this AlphaTauri trench coat, and the day prior we had Lewis Hamilton in probably a much more expensive version here, and he actually walked the pit lane, which is a little unusual for Lewis. Normally he'll just pretty much stay inside his motorhome, but obviously keen to have a look at what the other teams were doing. And a number of you asked, was I at the track photographing? No. Unfortunately, our travel restrictions don't ease here in Western Australia until March 5, but I had 2 photographers shooting for my social media channels. Lewis Hamilton is back at the track with his bodyguard Lloyd. Here he is on the left. And when I noticed him walking in with Valtteri Bottas, I thought, hello, he's now working for Valtteri, which I thought was a bit odd because Valtteri in a lower rung team I wouldn't have thought needed a bodyguard, and that was in fact the case. Lloyd is indeed working with Lewis, and this must be the 4th year in a row, maybe 5th. We met Guan Yu Zhou's inner sanctum, the people that he will be surrounded by at the track, and his trainer here is Matteo Orsi. Just behind is Candice Zhang. I must admit, I photographed Candice at post-season testing in Abu Dhabi last year, and I couldn't work out who she was. But thankfully, one of my Instagram followers piped up and identified her. So we'll be seeing a lot more of her around the paddock this year, that's for sure. We saw the Alfa Romeo car in an all-camouflaged livery. Made it a little bit tricky to read the sponsors' logos on the side of the car, but in terms of impact, it was certainly a standout. And why did they run that livery? Well, their launch is not until the 27th of February. 2 days after pre-season testing. So depending on when you're watching this, the new livery will have either been released or not been released. And I thought too, it was a great move to have the drivers' helmets in those camouflage colours. I do know that my favourite car was the AlphaTauri. I thought it looked beautiful, especially the white on the rear wing. Even when the AlphaTauri was covered in the FlowViz, which is It's almost like a paint, but it's not paint. It's fluorescent powder mixed with a light oil, sometimes paraffin. It's then sprayed or applied to the car in the garage. The car heads out on track, does a number of laps, and when it comes back to the garage, the engineers take a careful look at the paint flow and work out where the air is passing over the body and then make adjustments accordingly. Now, despite the fact that masks were once again mandatory in the paddock, I was somewhat enthused by the fact that a number of drivers would walk into the paddock without their mask and then put them on as they got to their hospitality suites. Of course, the real big story from the 3 days of testing was the Russian attack on Ukraine and how that affected Formula One. As you probably already know, the Uralkali logo and the Russian colours were taken off the Haas car for day 3. A number of people were saying, oh, why wasn't it taken off the uniforms? They only had a day's notice. It's not like they can get a whole new wardrobe done in a day, but it was certainly taken off the engineering trucks. That was a positive move from Haas. And on the Friday, Nikita Mazepin was to do a press conference after his session in the morning, but Gunther Steiner handled that press conference. And I imagine there are some very big decisions to be made in that camp over the next week or so before the first race in Bahrain. One thing I was excited to learn was where Kimi Raikkonen's trainer turned up. Mark Arnold is his name. He's been with Kimi for 20 odd years. And I found out that he'll be working alongside Sebastian Vettel. Not the whole year. He and his regular trainer, Antti Konsas, will share the races about 50-50. Now, there's only one other driver that has 2 trainers. That's Sergio Perez. He has Joe Canale and Xavi Martos. We learnt that Red Bull now have a very prominent Red Bull on both their caps and on their jackets, as is evidenced here. Last year, you can see Sergio Perez's cap, he had a number 11 in that spot, but we can expect to see more of that this year.
And Netflix is back for season 5.
Hey. That's my son who's doing my social media this year, thank you, but I do the to-camera bits. Yes, season 5 of Netflix, they were active in the paddock again. Here they are shooting Toto Wolff coming in on day 1. Now, a reminder that March 11 is the launch date for Drive to Survive. It'll be seen by well over 50 million people internationally. And we ran a poll, will you be watching Netflix's Drive to Survive? 81% of the 15,000 responders said yes. So it's a resounding success. And I know there's been a few negative comments on some social media posts I put up about Netflix, too contrived, too dramatic, not an accurate representation. Well, I disagree. It shows me so much that happens in the paddock that I don't see, and I spend all of my time in the paddock, so I'm looking forward to it with much delight. I learnt that this raised dome on the front of every single car is a 360-degree camera. I've never noticed that before. It's been around for a while, but this was the first time I actually laid my eyes on it and took notice. My F1 season kicks off on March 8 when I head to Bahrain for testing, staying on for the first race, off to Jeddah after that, and then flying back to Melbourne for round 3. If you've enjoyed this video, here's your chance to click the like button, subscribe if you haven't done so. About half of my viewers are unsubscribed, and you should be getting this content. It's free for you. You'll find all of my images available for download at prostarpics.com. For my F1 photo books, yes, head to kimillman.com where you'll find a range of merchandise, and you can also order large-scale canvas prints. And for my best images live from the track and all during the week, I'm going to invite you to head to Instagram and search at Kim Illman. Thanks for watching and stay passionate. Hey, look at this guy carrying his girlfriend up the hill. That is funny. What's that?